Welcome back to The Rancher's Voice, the podcast where the heart of agriculture meets the pulse of today's industry. From policy changes to leadership stories in the Western lifestyle, The Rancher's Voice dives into the stories that matter most to ag producers.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Rancher's Voice. I am your stand-in host, Kenny Reese-Larry, and Rayleigh and Ellie are traveling this week, but we are going to talk about a topic that I am super passionate about, internships and the ag industry. We are joined by two great guests today, Kelsey Bergstrom, our current MSGA intern, and our membership representative, Ian Kane, who brings unique experience and internship insight into the table. So, how's everybody doing today?
Going great. We have a beautiful July day here.
Yes.
Excited to be on the podcast.
Yeah. So this is Kelsey's first podcast, and she's been with us since late May in her internship position. So let's just kick things off. Kelsey, why don't you give us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you're currently doing in school, and what brought you to Montana?
Yeah, so like Kenny said, I'm Kelsey Bergstrom. I'm originally from McPherson, Kansas, so right in the middle of Kansas there. I am studying animal science at Kansas State University. Go Cats, not go Bobcats. Sorry. But yeah, animal science at Kansas State. My ag industry background, I grew up on a small cow-calf operation. We have Hereford and Gelbvieh cattle, so kind of different than the normal operation in Kansas. We have Gelbvieh influence. Coming to Montana, I had originally interned in December back at convention. That was a blast.
Yep.
So I was like, gotta get my name in there again for the summer. And obviously Montana's definitely a lot different than Kansas. Totally different landscape and all the things like that. So I knew I kind of wanted to come to Montana just for the vastness of the industry up here and just kind of get a different look at it, what it's like compared to Kansas. So
yeah. And like Kelsey said, she was an intern previously with Montana Stock Growers for our annual convention internship. So just for a little bit of background, we have two internship programs at Montana Stock Growers. We have our summer internship that is a longer duration. It's anywhere from like May to mid-August. And that's mostly a marketing position. And then at annual convention, we have a couple different internships. We usually employ about, 4-ish students, and they do anything from, general event production to policy to marketing. And so Kelsey was in our general production internship position there, and she got to run our check-in desk with Ian.
Yep.
And they had, I'm hoping, so much fun together because I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off. So,
and shameless plug, our convention internship is accepting applications
Yes.
for 2025.
Yep.
yes. So, Ian, you've got kind of a good perspective on both sides. Coming into this position when you were hired, you had done quite a bit of different style of internships. So can you share a little bit about those experiences for our listeners?
Absolutely. Yeah. I was fortunate to be able to do, 6 in total before I came to Montana Stock Growers, but 5 that were, quote unquote, full-time internships, 1 every summer and then 2 after I'd actually graduated from UT. But those were mostly production-facing internships. So I started out in the feedlot sector in Kansas and worked there for a summer. And then was able to go to Nebraska the following summer and worked. They had a backgrounding operation and also a limousine seed stock. So that was kind of my first foray into the cow-calf and especially the registered side with all the record keeping that goes into that and learning about that. And I really, really enjoyed that internship in particular. And so the 2 following that summer in Nebraska were also seed stock focused. Those were both in the Black Angus breed. Mm-hmm. One was in Oregon, the other one in South Carolina. And doing those back to back was very interesting. Being able to see the contrast of the Southeast versus the Pacific Northwest, and you can't really get much further away in our country than those 2. So, I mean, same breed, same business in general, but the nuances of the production practices were extremely different. So I enjoyed learning about that, and then kind of rounded out my internships before I came here with the American Angus Association and working for the Breed Association and their regional manager team. And that experience in particular was very helpful with my role here at Stock Growers and kind of learning about just all the things that go into an ag association.
Great. And how would you say those internships shaped your experience in the cattle industry or really brought you to Montana?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, not growing up in the ag industry, it was very critical as far as my early career to get that initial experience because the ag in general, but especially the livestock and the beef industry is so complex. And so being able to kind of learn and see the nuances between the different segments of our industry and try to understand how all those pieces fit together was very important in my development. And also just getting to meet people and kind of learn about the histories of these operations and understand just all that goes into it. And I mean, before I started these internships and started my kind of college career, I had no idea all the science and technology that was taking place within the ag industry. And just, I mean, a producer can be a veterinarian, a engineer, agronomist,
Absolutely.
and a marketer or an accountant all in the same day, sometime in the span of a few hours. So just kind of learning about all those different aspects of the business was very beneficial as well. So internships are crucial, I think.
Yeah.
So
Well, and we're interns, I guess, for both of you guys. Like, are internships something that your colleges were either requiring you to do or heavily pushing you to do? Like, was that a priority for you guys in college?
Yeah, I would say at Kansas State in animal science specifically, I know I'm not sure about, other majors, but I think also in the College of Ag, it is one heavily pushed and encouraged, but in animal science too, it's a requirement to graduate with. They now call it an applied learning experience. So whether that is an internship over the summer, however long, or there's a couple different classes now that will qualify for that learning experience, but it is heavily encouraged, if not required.
Yeah, and similar at UT, I think they call them like experiential learning credits or something. So there was a few other ways to get it besides the internship, like participating on the national agri-marketing team or something along those lines. But most people did complete an internship. I would say most people only did one or maybe two. So doing as many as I did, I would say is maybe abnormal. Just from a time standpoint, most people just don't have that much time to do that. But
yeah, especially if you are working full-time in college and stuff like that. I think from my experience at Texas Tech, it was the same thing. Like, they really encouraged and required internships in my degree program. I did a lot of internships, kind of like Ian, but I did a lot of like 2-week event-focused internships. So I interned at the Texas High School Rodeo Association finals. I did the Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers Convention 2 years in a row, kind of like Kelsey.
Yeah.
And then I did 2 summer-long internships as well. So I kind of got the variety mix in there as well. Something
that I think is really good about the ag industry is, and this is compared to maybe some of the folks that what we call at UT the main campus non-ag majors. Like, a lot of their internships were unpaid, but in ag, I think I very rarely ever see opportunities that are unpaid.
Yeah.
Especially for like a full summer or a semester-based internship. So I always thought that was really good too, because you can hopefully save up a little bit of money while you're learning on the job. So
yeah, that's a good point too, because if I'm thinking about it, like, all of my internships were paid, except for sometimes the smaller event ones, they're not paid necessarily, but you get like a travel stipend and stuff like that, which is what we do at Stock Growers. So yeah. So Kelsey, tell us a little bit about your summer so far. What do you do in your role? What does your day-to-day look like, and maybe some of your favorite projects?
Yeah. Well, it's been a lot of fun so far. It's hard to believe it's already coming to a close.
I know.
I'm a little sad about it. I'm not sure I'm ready to go back quite yet, but yeah. Doing day-to-day wise, I get to do a lot of social media posts. Some of it includes like policy that has been coming out. I feel like that's been really heavy this summer, whether that's here in Montana or in DC. So that's been really cool to kind of see that. So a lot of social media posts primarily. get to post Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, do a lot of research for that as well.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of TikToks.
Yes. Yeah. Love the TikToks. Yeah, I would say maybe my favorite so far has been T-Bone. I'm super excited for that event. I get to kind of end the summer off right.
That'll be Kelsey's last day in our quote office, which is kind of weird. T-Bone is an interesting event because that has been the start of so many people in our office's careers. Like Rayleigh, our EVP, when she first started at Stock Growers, that her first day was at T-Bone. Ellie's first day was at T-Bone, and then now Kelsey's last day will be at T-Bone. So it's like a weird marker event.
And our intern last summer as well.
Yeah. Capped off there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that will be such a fun 2-day event. Good networking. Excited to see a couple of the members for the last time, hang out with everybody. Yeah. Should be good. So yeah, that's definitely been a fun project to work on social media wise. We've done a lot of different campaigns for that between the gala dinner, the event as a whole. We're doing a countdown, so that'll be fun. Countdown. Yeah, super excited about that. Might have to get some TikToks in the works for T-Bone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say that's probably been my favorite. I just finished up with the 2025 seed stock commercial cattle directory. That was definitely extensive, but
it's a beast, right?
It's a beast. Yeah, it was crazy. I think there were 88 new or updated things that needed to be updated in the directory. So it definitely took a couple of days. It definitely wasn't just a 3-day project here. So,
and it's definitely one of those projects for our listeners that is like very meticulous. It's Kelsey was going in and updating individually every single one of our listings that needed to be updated in that book. And I think, Ian, do you maybe fact check me on this, but it's like 170 something pages. So
I believe you.
It's a lot.
It's a beast for sure.
Yeah, Kelsey took that on stride and she got it done. So
great.
We're excited to see how that gets published later in August. But yeah, so Kelsey, again, since you kind of are not from Montana, what has surprised you the most about working in Montana's ranching industry, and has anything stood out to you specifically?
Yeah, I think a lot of what I'm realizing or getting to kind of see is the ranching style, like the differences, where I feel like a lot around here is like that is a family's main source of income. That is a big thing. Whereas I feel like in Kansas, and I mean our operation too, is like it's not our main source of income. It is kind of on the side, while it's still, I don't like to call it like a part-time thing, because it definitely it's another full-time job for our family, because both my parents, they have day jobs as well. Yeah. And so that's definitely a big thing here. Is it is the main source, I feel like, but across Kansas, I would say it's kind of the side part, or like the hobby.
It's an additional source of income.
Yeah,
like there's multiple sources of income.
Sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so, how did it kind of feel? I know, because you'd come here previously, but just for like a short amount of time. It was like a week or less, really. So how did it feel stepping into, like, from Kansas to Montana, being so far away from home for a while, and getting to deal with all these new experiences? Like, what were you kind of thinking going into moving here?
I was definitely nervous. Yeah. There's going to be nerves about going somewhere new. And again, I had been here for about a week before, so I got just like a little taste of it. And my college, I'm not far from home either. So it's like a quick, if I need to go home for a weekend, it's an hour and a half, but it's 18 hours now. And so I was like, this is a long 3 months. This is, can't just hop in the car and go home. But I think that's what was really exciting to me, was getting to be away from home for 3 months at a time, and getting to have these new experiences, and being out on my own, truly, aside from college. So.
Ian, what about you? Because yours were kind of all over the place too, and you're originally from Tennessee. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was really good just to be able to get that diversity of experience. And I mean, in the South, there's definitely still plenty of ag, but it's not at a scale, kind of as Kelsey was alluding to, that a lot of those places are not big enough to bring on somebody even just for a temporary basis. So especially with my particular interest in the beef and cattle industry, going west was an obvious choice just for the difference in opportunities. Kind of seeing all the different contrasts in production practices. Like, for example, in Oregon, they, much like Montana, because in eastern Oregon, similar terrain, but you have like these irrigated meadows down in the valleys that you do all your hay on, and then, or you can do very intensive rotational grazing. But then you also have, kind of some high desert country and Forest Service leases and all that interface with the public lands facet. Whereas, in Nebraska, the ranch I was on was all owned, and they had a couple lease pastures from neighbors, but no public ground to factor in there. They could run it pretty much however they wanted to, and just the water resources. There was a river right on the north border of the ranch, and that made for some definite advantages there, and so.
Yeah, well, and I too, I only did one internship out of state, and it was actually to Montana at the Nile. And that was a great internship because I kind of got the taste for Montana. And previously, when I was in college, I never thought I was going to leave Texas. I was one of those Texans. I'm never going to leave. But I always encourage people, in students and internships and stuff, you can always go home. Go get your feet wet, do stuff. And then if you still want to go home, then that's totally fine. But I always encourage people to step outside of their comfort zones, because you really never know what that's going to lead to, and how much you'd like it. And for me, I always say, when people ask what are the differences and where I've lived, and I'm always just I grew up around ag people. I went to school for ag. I'm in ag now. So ag people are pretty similar through and through. So it wasn't a huge culture shock to me to pick up and move and go experience new things, because I just think ag people are very similar, even though their practices might be different. But yeah, I always encourage people to take that chance. If you need to go, just treat it like college and be I'm only going to be here for 4 years or 1 year or whatever. And if I need to go home, I can go home. But it's always good to learn new experiences and where you're at and stuff that.
Yeah.
But
the most growth happens when you get into uncomfortable situations.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right. So, Ian, you've worked in a variety of internship roles. In your opinion, what separates a good internship from a great internship? What are you looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest factor is that the folks that the interns go in to be working under or working for, that employer having a teaching and mentorship mindset, I think is key, because, most interns, the reason they're there is because they have gaps in their skills and they're looking to try to shore some of those up. So for employers that are looking for somebody that can come in day one, be able to do it all without any supervision, that's not really what an internship's for. An internship is there to try to help that person develop into a better professional and a better person in general. And so I think that's a huge factor. Also just being able to slow things down. If the intern's not understanding something, or maybe has done it a different way and nobody's ever explained how to do it the way they want it done, just taking the time to, you can, by taking 5 minutes to explain something thoroughly and make sure there's comprehension, you can save an hour's worth of work if you didn't take that 5 minutes and then something got really messed up. And so I think, that's definitely key, I would say. And just also another one is having measurable goals, because if you don't have some kind of watermark to see if the intern's growing throughout the process of the experience, you may not be able to get the growth that you could out of that. So having some measurable goals and a regular check-in to see how things are going.
Yeah. Well, and kind of along that line, Kelsey and I do design critiques and stuff like that on social posts. And at the very beginning of the summer, I was like, Kelsey, I'm going to be doing some edits. Yep. It's okay. I don't hate you. These are all good. I'm not expecting you to be perfect. But I can't, I mean, Kelsey's already grown so much in her design. So I told her at the very beginning, like, you just wait and see what your designs look like at the end of the summer versus the beginning of the summer. Because that's what I always tell everybody when they come into this position. Like, I came to stock growers straight out of college. Like, if I go look at the 2019 social posts that stock growers are making, I'd probably be like cringing too. So like, it's all just a process. And like the measurable goals and like having a teaching mindset is definitely something to keep in mind. And like for me as a person that oversees our internship programs, that's something that I semi struggle with too, because I'm a little bit like controlling with my stuff, as everybody in this room knows. And so like actually like letting the intern do the thing, right? And if like they come to you and they have questions or whatever, that's one thing, like we can get that done, but like you have to trust in them to actually do the process and or take that time to slow down the process a little bit, set them up for success. And then like if you take an hour explaining it to them, it will actually save you as the employer time in the long run, because then they can just take that on now. Like there's many tasks that I have had to sit down with Kelsey and like explain the task, which is like totally fine. Like why would you know how to do these things randomly? But explain the task. And then this entire summer, I haven't had to do those things. So it helps in the workflow process too. But
I mean, I think particularly in like the ranching industry, like a lot of these operations are, legacy operations. And I think it's important for employers to remember that, a lot of times you've been there for 20 or 30 years. You know every nook and cranny of the place. And interns has fresh set of eyes and may not know where the Jim Bob's house was down the road that burned down 3 years ago, where you need to turn to take the hay, See,
along those same lines, I feel like I'm like that at stock growers now too. I've only been at stock growers for 6 years. I'm like, well, what do you mean? It's in the third drawer on the left and you have to like in our office. I'm like, okay, Kenny, you gotta like calm down.
Still our longest tenured employer.
Yes. So Kelsey, from a student perspective, what are you looking for in an internship? Like when you're searching through Indeed or, whatever you're looking for.
Yeah, obviously a big thing for me is like the hands-on aspect and like getting to do things that I wouldn't necessarily be doing in school. I think that's really big, and really like looking to be a part of the team too, and not just like the extra set of hands, just kind of there. But yeah, people that they value the connection, they want you to grow. But yeah, and kind of being let out on my own too, that I've gotten, I mean, that was kind of day 3 for me. Is, hey, Kelsey, design this post and it's okay to fail. Like that too is something that I value so much and that I look for, is that there is going to be the constructive criticism. There's that connection there that I might not get in another opportunity, where you may just be kind of let out to pasture and that's
and
where
then you're left there forever.
And you're left there. And I also value too, like being able to ask questions to anybody in the office and being able to learn, and they're going to sit down with me. And so,
Yeah. And at Stock Growers, this is, I think, the 3rd year of our summer internship program, and we're going into the 4th of our annual convention. And like, as a staff member, I just really love seeing like where everybody falls and lands afterwards, and like keep in touch. We keep in touch pretty well with most of our interns. And like, we've had this one intern from our very first annual convention internship who's like had some sort of connection to like almost every intern. Like, she's suggested some interns to us through like multiple years now. So it's always great to like network and keep the connections and stuff like that. But so let's talk a little bit more about mentorship. Ian, have you kind of had any mentors in your past that have played a role in your career, or nowadays, like, how do you try to show up as a mentor as young as you are?
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, lots of people have helped me along the way, and investing time and effort into kind of helping me get to where I am now. So I'm definitely grateful for all that. But I really, the thing that they offered me the most was just their perspective and wisdom. whether you're trying to figure out what your next step is or, navigate through a challenge, just having somebody that's maybe been in those pair of boots before and can kind of help you, tell you about what happened to them and maybe how they navigated it. It might not be the same situation, but can give you some ideas for what you need to do in your own journey. But yeah, times, especially in the ag industry, time's a very limited resource. So for all the folks that were able to, took me in as an intern or just even throughout my coursework at UT, just that time and effort that they put in to help me develop as a person. This was a big deal for sure. And then as far as, I guess, trying to pay it forward, I just try to make myself really available. I know that, Tennessee's a long way away from Montana, but I've given a couple like Zoom presentations to like their freshman like 110 class to kind of share about some of the opportunities I found and just trying to make myself available for folks that are new to the industry or looking to get more involved, just to ask questions or share opportunities. Just if I have, whether it's friends or just other young folks I know that are looking for certain types of opportunities, if I see something that comes up, just making sure that, hey, have you seen this? Are you interested? Let me know if I can help you get connected in any way. And that's the best way I know how at this point. So
yeah. Well, and I would say the same too. Like when we started this internship program at Stock Growers, I was super excited about it because I always just thought back to like the amount of time and effort that my internship like managers or directors spent on me and gave me those chances. Like my internship with TSCRA or Texas High School Rodeo Association, I like cold called them completely. And I was like, hey, I'm working on a class project. Like, can I do something for you guys? It was like a graphic design project. And then the gal that was running it at the time was like, great, love what you did. Like, do you want to come for our finals and help me work it and stuff? And so like, I just like went to Abilene and worked that with this basically stranger, and now I'm like still very, very connected with her on social. She recommended me, back in the day in college, I thought I was going to be a rodeo gal and like do rodeo association work. But yeah, she recommended me for 2 other job opportunities within the rodeo industry. And so then I made another connection through that she was friends with. And now like I'm very good friends with this other gal and was actually in the same like award class with this other gal that had hired me. So it's like all about networking really. Like that has been the most valuable connection for me in my internships is like, all of my internships have related to something else that I am now in. And the same thing with Texas Cattle Raisers as well. Like the people that I knew there hired me again the next year and then have connected me a lot within the industry. And our industry is so, even if you're rodeo versus ag, like they kind of intertwine a little bit and the industry is very small.
So that's something that I love so much about our industry is that somehow this person knows this person, whether you're across the country, and just everybody knowing everybody and the connections and the value of a handshake and just getting to know people. Something that I just greatly love about our industry.
So what is like one thing you would both tell students considering an internship, especially if they're stepping outside of their comfort zone, going into a, sector of the industry they're not comfortable with, or moving, across the country or to a different state?
I'd say going back to like the value of the handshake and putting your name out there, like it can be really nerve-wracking, but just like taking that step and going and introducing yourself. I know that's something that I used to really struggle with, was just like, hey, this is who I am. But also too, like our professors at Kansas State are so willing to help us get those opportunities and to help us get our names out there, and are always like, there's always an email in my inbox about an opportunity and, hey, how can I help you get to this internship or get you connected with this person? But it's, I think, a lot about putting your name out there and just taking the leap. Like it may be scary, it may be nerve-wracking, you may be moving 18 hours away from home for 3 months or longer, but I think it's all about just diving in head first and it's okay to move away from home. And I think, like you said, Kenny, like, it's okay. You can always come back home too.
Yeah.
Just get out there and go explore.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And another question that just popped into my head that we should probably talk about for, students who might be listening to this episode, like, where are y'all searching for internships? Like, what are the job board resources that you're looking at?
Yeah, I think a lot too, it's nice being a student is that those professors, like, a part of their job is they're forwarding the emails to, that's primarily where I've seen a lot of internship opportunities, and especially with MSGA, like,
I send them directly.
Yeah, you send them, like, our department head for AgCom, like, that's how I saw the one for the convention internship. And with a previous internship with live auctions that I had my freshman year came from our professors, and so that's a big part of what they do is those come into their inbox, so they're forwarding those on. And again, with the connections too, is I've seen friends who are very close with a professor or have gotten to know a professor well, maybe it's their own advisor, and they recommend them to an internship opportunity. So mainly things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You, Ian?
When I was going through that process, I used Indeed a lot. That I think that's like the largest job platform. So that's a good one. And then I guess a more recent one that I've heard a lot of chatter about is like Of the West.
Yeah.
It's a great platform.
Yeah.
Great
And
platform.
so that one's specifically geared towards the ag and Western industry, which is really nice because obviously Indeed is a plethora of other industries that have postings on there. So and so those two, I mean, I would echo that, like, our College of Ag did have some postings there, and definitely would try to help in that regard. But I guess two of my internships, or well, actually 3 of them, were just from cold calls.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I would not underestimate the value of just seeing, what opportunities might be out there, because as we are very familiar with, I mean, labor in the ag industry is pretty short supply sometimes, and so there are a lot of people that maybe are looking for opportunities to bring somebody on, even if it's just to help with a busy season.
Totally.
So,
yeah, I would echo that of don't be afraid to cold call or cold email, because what I did a lot of the times, and even in a job search too, when I was graduating college, like, I found kind of the sector of the industry that I wanted to be involved with, and I just searched those, and like those type of association work and that kind of stuff in different states, and did some interviews like that. Like I said, my time at Texas High School Rodeo was a cold call or cold email. Of the West is a great platform. And then there's also one which I don't see as many internships necessarily on, but agcareers.com is another great platform where you can go searching for that kind of stuff. But I
would say too, aside from getting them from my college professors, Tyler Schuster, she's now at Texas Tech, but she came and spoke at K-State for our Cattle Women's annual meeting and things like that for our club. But she posts on social media all the time. I see on her Instagram stories, she does TikToks too of all these job listings, where to go find them, internships. She's always getting students plugged in somewhere. And there's also a gal over at 5 Rivers who makes TikToks about all these internships or job opportunities too. So I think that's what's really fun about social media too, is getting to see all those opportunities and get connected that way.
Yeah, very cool. Well, Ian, so you work closely with our members every day. Why do you think it's important for ranchers or ag organizations like Montana Stock Growers? And I should give a shout out to the foundation. Our Montana Stock Growers Foundation supports our internship program, so I should give them a very big thank you. But why do you think it's important for ag organizations to invest in young professionals, whether it's through a formal internship or hiring on younger people?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for one, it gets a fresh set of eyes on your business. When somebody has limited or no experience with your enterprise, they tend to ask questions about why you do the things you do and how you do them. And sometimes that can break you out of a paradigm or help you find new ways to be either more efficient or find better ways to do it that you might not have thought of otherwise without that fresh set of eyes. So I think that's definitely something that's super invaluable to have an internship program. But also at the end of the day, I mean, you're just investing into the future of our industry. We're trying to keep as much land in ag production and keep food on America's table, and we can't do that without, future leaders. And I mean, what better way to do it than by having an internship program and helping to develop them yourself? So,
yeah.
One other thing on the internship front is just that as I guess there's whether it's ag getting more efficient or just operations getting larger, there tends to be maybe less people getting raised in the ag industry.
Mm-hmm.
So as we look towards the long-term future of our industry, there's going to be more and more people that might be interested but maybe don't have the background or skill set to kind of do all the things on their own. And so having that internship program can maybe help take some of these people like I was and develop them into where they can contribute to the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So there's lots of great reasons to have an internship program.
Yeah. Well, and I always remember too, like searching for jobs straight out of college, it was like everybody wanted like 3 to 5 years experience. You're like, how do you expect me to get that experience if you don't have internships and that kind of stuff? So that's always like, I know coming from the student angle is frustrating, but another thing for student interns applying or like students applying for internships and stuff, like really showing your value on your resume of like actionable items that you've done. As a person who's now reviewed a lot of internship resumes, like those are the biggest standouts. Is like, I don't want to give, well, I do, but like, I don't want you as an intern to come to me with like you've already done everything, right? Because then why do you need the internship? Mm-hmm. But I do need your resume to like point out that you have done some actionable items, whether that's volunteer work, whether that's coursework. And so, there's lots of opportunities out there to do. But Kelsey, so kind of looking ahead, how has this experience shaped your goals, plans for the future? Like the age-old question, what are you doing after you graduate?
What's next? Yeah, I definitely get that question a lot. Seems like every day somebody's asking me. I call my family and they're like, so what's next? And I'm like, well, part of me still doesn't know. I feel like I'm so type A sometimes that I thought I had my whole career planned out as a sophomore in high school. Like I knew what I wanted to do. And that plan, I think, changed probably 4 times, especially since getting to college too. I never thought I'd be the one to change my major once, let alone twice. So just trying to keep the future open. But I think this internship experience has definitely led me to looking into the more marketing and communication side, working in associations, whether that's a place like American Hereford Association or maybe even going back home and doing work with Kansas Livestock Association, has definitely opened my eyes to that side of things. And I really love getting to create social media posts, and connecting with members has been a lot of fun and getting to learn more about them. And so I think I definitely want to do something within an association, whether that's at the state level, the national level, whatever that may look like. But also just keeping my options open, which is hard for someone like me. I used to be so closed off to I was going to have this one job, but now, and especially with graduation being a year from now rather than when it was going to be 2 years, I feel like it's all hit me like a train. But in the end, it'll all work out. And again, back to the connections, like I've gotten to connect with so many people, and so that will greatly benefit me a year from now in the job search. So
yeah. So what advice would you give to a student just now starting out looking for their internship search? Like where do they start?
Yeah, I think one good place to start is to try to identify companies or organizations that you respect, and maybe, or even just an individual you might want to emulate in some capacity, and either one, try to figure out how can you get a foothold within that company, or, just if it's an individual, go see if you can take 10, 15 minutes, have coffee or breakfast or something with that person, and just pick their brain on, kind of what was their journey like, what advice do they have. That was one of my favorite questions to ask in all my internships was, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received? And so I would have my like supervisors share that with me. So I always enjoyed kind of hearing about some of that.
Yeah, that's a great question. Kelsey, don't ask me that because I'm not. I can't answer that right now.
That's all right.
I got to think about that one.
Yeah.
But that is a great question.
Yeah.
Kelsey, what about you? As someone who is in the middle or has just recently done that experience?
Yeah, again, I think going back to just taking the leap, diving in head first, putting your name out there, shaking the hands, getting connected with those people, but also like going to your college advisors, if that's where you're at in life. They're there to help you, and they're there to get you to the next step. And so they have a lot more connections than someone on the street, I guess. But get your name out there, just dive in, and I guess cold call, cold email, see someone like me again. I would be scared to death to do that, but I think there's great value there too. So get out there.
I can tell you from experience, it's not easy starting out.
Yeah.
I think I went through 20 no's before I got my first yes. And so it was a grind to start, but every year it got easier because you just have to get that one person to give you that start. But
absolutely.
Something else is just, I don't think you can underestimate the importance of just having a good attitude.
Yeah. Absolutely.
From an employer standpoint, like you want somebody that's going to show up with good energy, that's respectful, and is like, teachable. And so some of those like kind of soft skills I think are really critical for somebody that's looking to make their start. Because if you're late and you got, complain all the time, you have a poor attitude, like that's not going to be a good look, and it's going to be hard for that employer to recommend you to somebody else for your next opportunity. So.
Yeah, very much so. And what you said about being teachable is so important too. Like, you have to recognize that you're coming into the position with, a lot to learn, and asking questions, and, always being willing to do something. And instead of like, there's a lot of times like Kelsey will run out of stuff to do, and she comes to me and she's like, okay, I'm ready for whatever you need. And instead of, she could just be sitting at her desk and be like, okay, well, I'm here to collect my paycheck and my quote unquote experience, and then I'm good to go. So that's definitely something to point out.
Something one of my former internship supervisors told me is that you tend to learn the most when your mouth is shut and your ears and eyes are open.
I love that.
And so that was stuff, there's definitely a time and place to ask questions, but you also like, just by observing the people around you that have been in the industry a lot longer and that you're working alongside, you can learn a lot without them ever necessarily having to take the time to tell you something, just by observing what they're doing.
So, well, that reminds me of some unsolicited advice I might give right now. And this is not just to students. Sometimes like grown adults, I'm like, you should learn this too. But like a big thing in school at Texas Tech was like, my professors were very strict about like, do not ask me a question unless you've Googled it already. And if you can't figure it out for yourself, then I will help you. And at the time it was like so frustrating. I was like, I am paying for this education. And they were like, no, but like, that's what is going to happen in the industry. So if you can't find that answer for yourself first, then you can come and ask me questions. But sometimes even to professionals 40 years into their career, I'm like, did you Google it first? Why are you asking me this question?
My professors would call it using all your resources.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was so frustrating in the moment, but like it really did help me. Like sometimes I'm just like, should I just put that quote on my door? Just, did you Google it before you even come into my office? But definitely checking all your resources and making sure you're not being stagnant, I think is really good advice. And so kind of on the flip side of that, why should ranchers or organizations, companies, like why should they consider hosting an intern, building an internship program, and what advice would you give them to create a meaningful experience for students?
Yeah, I kind of touched on some of the reasons why producers might, or allied industry businesses might want an internship program, but as far as making it meaningful, I think kind of how we talked about with the measurable goals, like as for the intern, as they gain more skills and more experience throughout the process of the internship, giving them more responsibility to coincide with those skills, I think is important, because not only does that allow them to take what they're learning and put it into practice to help further develop and strengthen that knowledge, but also I think it can help grow their confidence as well. And so when they go on to the next experience, they can 100% say, yes, I understand how to do this. Like, I can take care of this for you. So I'm ready to learn something different. I don't need you to cover that over again.
Yeah. I think having an internship is filling the gaps of what I'm not learning in the classroom. Yeah. Like, there are a great deal of things, obviously, that I'm learning in the lecture hall, but coming into an internship where it's the 8 to 5, the 9 to 5, or I'm learning what it's like to be in the office and learning how to create social media posts. I'm dabbling more in policy, whereas I don't get to do that on campus very much. Like, I'm going to anatomy and physiology. I'm going to my beef science class. Like, I'm not getting to learn what's happening in DC or what's happening like at the state level in Kansas. As much as what I'm learning here is like what is happening in Montana, how is Montana being impacted and things like that. And so I think for someone, a ranch, an association to have this experience, it's filling those gaps. And truly you are, I think, Ian, you had said it, investing in the future of the next generation of agriculturalists. And so I just think there's so much value in having an intern and, again, filling those gaps for the student, and be willing to take that on and with an open mind too, and being willing to help the student, because we want to learn as much as possible. And so, and then being able to take that into future experiences is just so valuable.
Well, and we kind of touched on it earlier too, but there's this conversation all the time in the ag industry of like, we're losing our labor. So I would say that is a major benefit of internships, because you get people into the ag industry who, one, might not have that experience, like Ian, like growing up, or you get people in who are looking at different aspects of the industry, whether they come from a different sector of the industry and now they're jumping into something new or that kind of stuff. So I think filling our labor shortage, a lot of that starts with, we need to train the next generation, and training happens in internships and those entry level jobs and stuff. So, and if you're a stock growers member, you've heard PPI, like producer profitability initiative, a million times. But technically, like, this falls under that. And, if we want the industry to be profitable and sustainable, you have to bring people into it. So I think internships are a great way to do that. But
and we're willing to learn. Like, I think that's something too that maybe some of the older generation is like, oh, they're not willing to put in the work, or they're not wanting to learn. But more than anything, like, yes, this is a requirement for my degree. But for me, I'm not just checking off that box and like, oh, I did it. I'm like, more than anything, here to learn, here to get connected, to network, and to build my skills and knowledge, which I can say has absolutely happened. And I'm eager to take that back. But without a doubt, it's not just me crossing something off my list. I don't look at it as, oh, I've just got to get this done. It's required of me. Like, it's required, but I'm going to put the best effort forward. And I think a lot of my peers feel the same way. And they want to get their hands dirty, they want to learn, and they want to grow.
And for the students that might be listening, something else I would say is, don't expect to know it all whenever you finish your internships. I mean, like I said, I did 5 or 6 before I came to stock growers, and I still learn something new every day. I mean, you have different environments that you're working in, different sectors of the industry, different roles within those sectors. So there's something new to learn every day. And so I would not, don't be discouraged if you feel like you don't have it all figured out, or you don't have it all locked down by the time you're through with the process. Because, I mean, if I always kind of have the opinion that if you're not learning something, then you're just dying. Like, you gotta keep progressing and pushing yourself to grow. And I mean, that's what makes life worth living.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good. Yeah. Well, I think that's about it for you guys. Thank you both for sharing your insights. And like Ian said at the top of the episode, our annual convention internships are open. So if you're interested in applying for those, you can head over to our website at www.mtbeef.org. Applications close, I believe, September 15th, 2025. Our annual convention is December 10 through 12 this year. And so, yeah, we're always looking for students that are ready to learn, motivated, and interested in Montana ag. So, yeah. Also, if you guys enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe on, YouTube and anywhere you get podcasts, and then follow Montana Stock Growers on Facebook and Instagram. We will see you all next week. Thanks, guys.